disinfection and stuff like that, the vessel, the equipment, and then John really kind of sat down and built the curriculum to address each one of those columns. So we'll have courses, right, John, where you do water chemistry. We have the ones.
Well, I mean, there's going to be a ton of different classes, and our approach is a little bit different, where instead of creating just a hodgepodge of different classes where you can look and kind of pick or choose some of the things or take part in something that might not necessarily apply to you as a pool professional at that moment, where we want to take it from the infancy of becoming a pool technician, right? And from the start of your day, and how a day should look like, or would look like for a professional. Obviously, there's many variables that come into play, different markets, types of pools, people that you deal with, but at the end of the day, the fundamentals are the same when you're a pool technician or a pool professional out there in the field. So we're going to walk them through a journey from the very beginning all the way to the end of their day, right? And that comes from customer interactions, comes to how do you address people, how do you look when it comes down to professionalism, branding your truck, your business, the day at distribution, right? When you go into the backyard, what you look for. As far as like chemical testing, safety, all those things are going to come into play, and we're going to walk them through little by little, all the way through those 3 days. And hopefully, when people walk out, they're gonna be a little bit better than when they first started. So that's our goal. So we're trying a little something different, and we think it's going to be something special, especially for those that have done some education before in the past. And there's tons of good education at different trade shows and different places, and I've attended every single one of them probably like 10 times.
Curveball.
Yeah,
I have an idea.
Sure. I don't think I can handle any more change today, brother.
I have an idea.
What?
Which, by the way, that's how John started the conversation. If you know me, I love those started the conversation. And John came to me the other day, and he sends me a text, and he's like, "Hey, I have an idea." And so, of course, I'm calling him right away. And then that same day, Alex from Cali Pools, from listening to the podcast from Casey McGovern, sends me a text, and he starts off with, "I have an idea." No good morning, no how are you? It's just, "I have an idea." So I have an idea, John.
Go for it.
What are you in or are you out?
I'm in.
Okay, I'm in.
Crystal, I'm asking her if she's in or she's out.
I'm in.
Yeah.
I'm in.
So we have the business track.
Don't you take this away from me.
What? What am I taking away?
You're going to add something?
Let's to the business days, to the business courses. Let's add a marketing class with
Yes,
Crystal.
that's what I was going to say.
Were you going there?
My thing. I go, don't take it away from me, bro.
Oh!
Well, it's funny, as you're talking, I'm like, yes, John, everything that you're saying is so important, because I think a lot of the things that are missing, especially when it comes to like technical classes and everything that you're teaching, is all of those, like the branding and things that really accumulate to and equal the success, right? Is the branding and the lifestyle. And I think a lot of times, especially when it comes to the connection between, the service and the marketing, and bringing people through that journey, I think is extremely smart. And I think it's important. And I think for people who are more hands-on learners, to be able to see the connection of, hey, we did A and B happened. I think it's great. Yeah.
All right. So she's in, John.
See,
sorry, I didn't mean to steal your thunder.
Okay.
I apologize.
No, you didn't steal my thunder, but I'm just happy. We're usually always on the same page most of the time, right?
But we were. It's just I beat.
And I knew you were going to say that when you said that, but I thought I was going to be able to keep going. But you so comfortably interrupt me,
But was it because of how I called you last night, like all geeked out about after I dropped off?
Oh, you were totally stoked, dude.
I'm like, oh my gosh, she knows about this, she knows about that, she does this. Oh my gosh, she knows it.
Well, what's so beautiful about it is because this is a skill, right? That is so critical to a successful business. You need to be able to have this. Mm-hmm. You can be the best technician in the world doing, fixing pools, doing chemistry and stuff like that. But if you can't market your company or your business, you're going to have a hard time growing or scaling or becoming very successful. And, being able to teach marketing or help, open the eyes of the business owner, especially pool guys and gals, We're blue collar. We're the ones that are there that we just like to dig into things, work on stuff, fix stuff, right? We're outside doing that. We're not necessarily geniuses when it comes down to marketing, and it's one of those things that we're not very comfortable with at first. And unfortunately, when you first start your company as a business owner and entrepreneur, you need to wear all these hats, right?
Yeah.
You got to spin all these plates. And you're not in the position to where you can hire people that are great at what you suck at, or what you're not good at, or what you don't like to do, right?
Yeah.
So, if you're just a one polar, or if you have one truck or two trucks and have one employee, you might not be in a position where you can hire a marketing manager or somebody that really understands marketing. So you have to be able to take that on yourself and be great at it, so that you can be successful. So to give these tools and to be able to teach them in a way, and that's what Edgar was telling me yesterday, Crystal, when you were out there talking, and you can see through the bullshit of a lot of people when they talk, right? And
why do you say that and look at me?
I always say that and look at you. My bullshit meter's like I'm talking to you half the time. I'm just kidding. But it's true, when you're having a conversation with somebody, you can see if they really know what they're talking about, or if they're just talking buzzwords, right? Or saying this or saying that. I've been there, I've done that, I've seen it, and I've heard it. And Edgar the same exact way. I mean, we come from an environment and from a past life where all we dealt with were people and characters, right? And different personalities, and dealt with pretty much everything. And he was extremely excited yesterday after with the phone call that we had, because we always recap.
Great.
And I was kicking myself in the butt, wishing I was there, to see and hear, and to go through what the courses or what you were teaching. But I was like automatically thinking, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to talk with Edgar. We're going to figure out a way. I wasn't necessarily going to put you on the spot on the podcast, because it's quite the commitment, right? And it's a long journey. But Edgar has no shame. You know what I mean? I'm a little bit more classy than that. Edgar's just straight to the punch. But we would be absolutely honored to have you share some of your knowledge and teach some of our pool pros, an art that not many really truly understand how to do.
You know what? And I would, I'm honored that you guys want me to do it, because when it comes to marketing, there are just the foundations are there, and I feel like everyone knows it. But as you say, especially in our industry. But one thing that I was telling Edgar yesterday is I get so excited. It's my 24th year in this industry. I had a little bit of a hiatus in my younger years, but all in all, the pool and spa industry, is the place to be, especially from a marketing standpoint. What we sell is relaxation and family and memories, and there are just so many different angles. And even when it comes to pool builders, when it comes to, even the person that is delivering the hot tub, the content that you have with that crane going into a backyard, or, that fiberglass pool going in over a house, like those are things, like we have so much content capability that just to be able to tap into that. And when it boils down to marketing, if people don't know what products or services you have available, how are they going to buy it? Right. And that boils down, John, you said it a bunch of times with branding and, just starting off and knowing who you are as a foundation and a culture. But no, I'd be absolutely ecstatic, especially now more than ever, especially if you are wearing multiple hats. The tools that are available to you, whether it be digital marketing, social media marketing, apps to help you design. There are so many things now more than ever to make a cohesive branding and marketing strategy that our industry can most certainly benefit from, because we're selling more than just products and services. We're selling emotion, and we're selling a lifestyle.
Selling ourselves, yeah.
We're selling, and our professionalism. So no, I would love to do that.
Absolutely. So let's go here, because trust me, guys, when we talk about getting into the nitty gritty of these things, and that's what I was talking about to John yesterday. There's a lot more to marketing than just the buzzword and stuff like that. Yes. So let's get started. And by the way, I've got people, Michael over here is excited, going, branding every piece of your business. Let's go.
Yes.
So let's get started. Crystal, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay. Well, I've already mentioned, but I am a mom of 4. So I've got 3 boys and a little girl. I'm from Canada, a smaller town, but close to Toronto. I'll just tell everyone it's Toronto. But I was born and raised in a very small town in New Brunswick. So an East Coaster. I think it's helped me move on with being frugal, with being, financially conscious and humble, and just knowing that I could just appreciate everything, especially coming from a town so small. But yeah, overall, I just I'm a mom. I enjoy yoga. I read a lot. I'm a snowboarder. Very active. I'm right now training for a half marathon, which is a big undertaking for me. So yeah, all in all, I'm just a small town girl living in this business world.
Awesome. So you're the VP of SMP and Ultralift. Can you tell us a little bit about the companies?
Yes. So SMP, Specialty Metal Products. It's kind of funny. They're two completely kind of different business structures, but they go hand in hand. So SMP, Specialty Metal Products, was founded in 1995. It's a metal and alloys distribution company. So what that means is raw metals, bronze, brass. Our saying is, hard to find or one of a kind, come to us. We stock certain things like, aluminum extrusions and different things for drop and release and stock items. But all in all, it's not very fancy, kind of, just a good old raw metal company. How Ultralift came a part of that is we do sell the aluminum extrusions, where if you're familiar with hot tub covers, that is the metal part that, is needed to manufacture those. And around 1999, a customer came to Ultralift and was like, hey, SMP, and said, hey, could you make a hot tub cover lifter? And our president said, sure. And it just so happened that he came up with a patented idea of a sliding bracket. Ultralift was born. And now we manufacture a line of hot tub cover lifters. We've also got a new swim spa cover lifter for bifold dual end, so that we could cater to the aftermarket of swim spa users, just to get away from that rollaway. But we just really focus on cover lifters. It's like you do that one thing really well, as they say. And yeah, so that's where we are in the market for hot tub cover lifters.
So you're the VP for both of those, right? For SMP and Ultralift, and so you're a VP for the income. So you're not a VP of marketing; you're a VP of the company. What is your day-to-day responsibilities?
So my day-to-day responsibilities change every single day, as I'm sure any owner or manager or anyone can say. It changes on a daily basis. And I am managing the 2 different companies. So they run 2 different business models, 2 different sales strategies, 2 different marketing, financials, accounts. So luckily, God bless me with a lot of energy because I'm able to go back and forth through both of them. But I'd say on a day-to-day basis, I'm more making sure that the strategy stays in place, overseeing all the different departments, making sure that we're communicating. I've got, because marketing is still something that I'm very passionate about. So leading all of the marketing campaigns, just checking different departments, making sure that they're okay, that our R&D is okay, that our inventory is okay. It's a lot of reports. It's a lot of data analysis, which is something that I taught yesterday, of just going through the data, making sure I'm not much for micromanaging. I completely trust my team, but I'm also very much into communication and very much into, so just constantly just touching base. I'm in the office every single day, as opposed to being hybrid, just so that I can be there. And yeah, my day fluctuates, and with the ebbs and flows of business, and it's actually quite exciting because I get to wear those different hats. So
that's crazy, John, right? Because it's 2 different companies and 2 different...
for sure.
Like one's metals, the other one's the lift covers, 2 totally different strategies.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
And, you have to flip a switch, right? When you're walking in from one area to the next area with different...
100%. And you know what? I'm actually grateful for it because it keeps me fresh,
Yeah.
Because I got to be honest, marketing raw metal pieces is not exactly the easiest thing to do. It's like, here's this dirty piece of bronze,
Yeah, right.
And...
you want mine.
Right. But you know what it does?
Yes.
Right?
Mine's better.
Or trying to find the companies, lead generation, market research, all of those things are extremely important, especially in such a niche company, right? And then the pool and spa industry, I'm extremely active in. I sit on the Pool and Hot Tub Council of Canada. I'm on their executive board, so I'm very much involved in that as well. And it's always, it's the more fun kind of. So it's two completely different strategies of marketing, branding, sales, everything. And I'm grateful for it because it keeps me fresh, right? It keeps both sides of brain going at all times.
But it falls again into like the one thing I always preach and I go, it doesn't matter what industry and or what company you're running or what you're doing. At the end of the day, we all have one thing in common, and that means that we work with people, right? And in two different companies, you might have two different objectives and two different approaches, but at the end of the day, it's tailoring and talking and speaking and dealing and taking care of people in some way, right?
The foundations are the same, like human foundations are the same. Everyone wants to feel heard and valued, and everyone wants to be respected. And when it comes to business, like the base foundations are the same. And that's why with teaching branding, marketing, and everything, you can take
it's universal.
That's right. And I'm a perfect example of that, is being able to manage these two completely different industries and doing everything. I have a base belief of how important it is to have a strong brand and a strong corporate culture and strong value systems, and that doesn't fluctuate from SMP to Ultralift. That's there, right?
Yeah. The one thing I got to imagine you have to miss, right? Because anybody who's a business owner, anybody who runs a business knows and goes through those times where all hell breaks loose and it's all shit, right? And then there's those times when everything seems to just fall into place, right?
Yeah.
And it's really smooth. But with two different companies, two different objectives, right? Two different things going, did you ever have both companies just where everything is just perfectly running and everything falls into place? Or is it always something going on with one or the other and you're always battling back and forth?
You know what? I find it eerie when things do that. I'm like,
it is a little scary, for sure.
And it's like, like that
something's up.
That thing floats through the office, and I'm like, but what in those moments, I say a lot in my teachings as well, is you take those calm moments as an opportunity to create content. Those are catch-up moments, right? Even if you're it's kind of similarly to off season, is that when you have those moments, you can't just be like, I'm gonna ride this. This is the time. This is the time where you have to step up and fill in all of those voids and say, okay, well, so you never stop. The chaos never stops with you, because there is always something to be done. But it's rare. It's rare that that calm before the storm, because always something happens right after, John. You know that, and the power goes out, or
or something, right? That's so minute, but still, it is.
No, but it's true.
It is, for real. With conversation with Edgar yesterday, he was talking to me about you, right? And he was telling me that, how you're a leader that really believes in learning every aspect of the business, which I agree with 1,000,000%. And he also told me that you literally went to job shadow every position in your company. Why did you think that was so important, and why'd you do it?
So I do think it's extremely important. I think every single job that I've ever had, even not being a leader, is I want to understand the business from the bottom to the top. But when I became the leader, I said to myself, not only do I want to go position to position to find out what exactly, everybody does for each section of the business, because I want to manage my expectations. I think it's so often that people from the very top aren't, going onto the field and seeing and they're like, well, I need this done by now. But if you actually have an understanding of the process, if you actually have an understanding of what the people are doing, it's extremely beneficial, not only for the relationship that you're having with your staff, because you're telling them, hey, I have you in this position, and it's something that I reiterate to them all the time, is you're working here because I don't know, or I can't do what you're doing, and teach me, right? And I think coming in as a leader without saying I know best, and saying listen, I'm vulnerable here, I need you to teach me, and it's something that I think people really do appreciate, because as a human foundation, you want to feel that, right? And I do respect them. People are a company's biggest asset, right? It's your people are going to be a make or break, right? And so I went to every single one. I packed lifters for an entire day, and just one other beautiful thing that came out of it is I found holes for improvement, and I was able to spend time with the employees in the different sections of the company, like inventory and purchasing, and all of these other places. And I sat and talked with them, when someone new comes in, right? And, it really, it opened up doors of communication for me to say, hey, fresh start. What do you see, or what would you change, or how can I make it easier or better or streamline, right? So now all of a sudden, when I went to all these different positions, I was like, okay, so you do this and then you do that. Wouldn't it be better if we reversed it? Would that make it more, And so it was a whole bunch of conversations like that, and it's totally invaluable. I highly recommend any leader make sure that you understand every aspect of your business, because it not only saved us money, it built trust with me and the employees, and yeah, I completely understand from both sides of the business now, even when it comes to sales and marketing timelines, and it's just. It helped minimize chaos, if anything. So no, it was good.
For sure.
And the credibility that it builds, right?
Yeah.
Like the amount of credibility that you come as a leader. And I want to talk about that a little bit, because we've kind of jumped over that. But obviously you were, was it director of sales and marketing, director of marketing? What was your position?
I was the director of marketing, yes.
You were the director of marketing, and then you get catapulted all of a sudden to overseeing the entire company. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, of course. So I've been with the company now almost 9 years, and I was the director of marketing. And in the beginning of 2002, unfortunately, our president fell ill. He got cancer, which I want to say he's completely beaten, and he is good. He's enjoying life right now. He got a newfound freedom, and he's at the cottage as we speak. So thank God for that. And but what ended up happening is it happened very quickly. If anyone has any experience with cancer, they know it is just it's.
Don't wish it upon anybody.
Ever. It's literally a light switch, right? And at that point, it was kind of I got expedited into this role. Out of necessity and out of, the need. And I ran with it, right? There was nothing else. There was no other option. I never even thought about it. I was like, yes, go get better, and there's not enough time to do the hiring process. There's not enough time to go and say, oh, we're going to find a new general manager, or we're going to whatever. I know the business in and out. I know both sides of it. And when they approached me with a vice president role, I took it. And yeah, so that's how I got catapulted so quickly into the vice president. And it is funny, you mentioned, people are like, oh, vice president of marketing, vice president of operations. I'm like, no, vice president, like
I just run the company.
Yeah,
that's what you do.
Yeah, and yeah.
So I have so much admiration for wanting to learn every aspect of the business, and then it's often overlooks and helps understand expectations versus reality. We agree 100%.
100%.
And then Joey Busick, big facts, 100% dope. So I think a lot of people are going to be in agreement that that's kind of the strategy. Unfortunately, there's a lot of leaders that don't do that. Mm-hmm. And then what happens is it's very easy to look at those companies and see where the disconnect is.
Of course.
Right?
Oh, just 1,000,000%.
Yeah.
You don't get that buy-in.
Yeah.
How do you truly hold somebody accountable, right? If you don't really understand the struggles and what they're going through, because you could be oblivious to some of the things that it's like what you put on paper and what's in reality, right, are two completely different things. And you can sit up on your little pedestal or on your little whatever and think and say, oh, why don't you do this faster? Or why don't you do this that way, right? Mm-hmm. And then simply because it sounds good in your mind, but in reality, if you were to try to execute that, you would see the struggles that they're going through. And it creates that, that resistance usually between, or that disconnect between you and your people. And by being there with them on the ground floor, right, and experiencing what they're going through and understanding their job so that you can set the correct expectations and then hold them accountable to it, just creates just a bond, actually. I mean, that's what I've always experienced before. And it's like, I wouldn't ask you to do anything I couldn't do or wouldn't do or haven't experienced myself. So yeah, it's one of those things that helps elevate you from that manager to a leader, that we always try to talk about, get people to want to work for you instead of feel like they have to work for you.
100%. And, even if you are a leader, because, some leaders may be looking and be like, I'm way too busy to go and do that, right? Sometimes maybe it doesn't take you just make baby steps. If you can't actually go on the field and build a pool that day, bring them in and talk to them. Ask them for their ideas. They're your employees. They're on the ground. They're dealing with customers. It is just there's just a biblical, massive amounts of information that you could be getting from your employees that save money, make your customer service better. They can, quality control when it comes to even the person that is taking your warranty claims. They're one of the most important people. They're gauging trends in what's happening when it comes to your manufacturing. And you don't realize how closely knit every single person in your company is. And if there is a broken area or a broken department, that is going to trickle through. And it doesn't matter which department it is. And you ask me what I do on my day-to-day. My day-to-day is making sure that I have a web connected to each of those departments. And even if I'm not available to, specifically go to them that day and be like, hey, I've created a comfort level where they can come to me without judgment. I've created a culture where, if something happens, just let's admit it. Let's move on, right? There's not stuff like that. So it is very important.
So let me ask you one more question here. So let's talk a little bit about culture, right? Because a lot of times when you have companies like that, there's an ability for a transition. There's a strategy for a transition, right? Because it's a big change to all of a sudden have somebody that's running the company. All of a sudden that person's out. There's no strategy. There's no talking points to talk to your employees. And you're going from having a CEO to all of a sudden, boom, you're it, right? You're it. So, it's scary for employees. So you go from peer, right, to all of a sudden boss. How did you manage that process for both of those companies?
Well, I would have to say that no matter what role I have, I'm a very respectful person. So I think that was definitely something beneficial for the transition for myself, is that I already had a baseline respect. But there is that jump, right, where there is, and there are different changes that you have to make when you're going into a leadership role, where you have to step back and set boundaries and make sure that people know accountability. But again, I would say it was with my sit downs, is one-on-one, is communicating strategy with everyone, telling them, what our dream is, what our goal is together, what I plan on doing, different things that I'm going to do as a leader. It was kind of I felt like an election, right? I was telling them, I'm like, these are the changes that I'm going to bring as your new president, it was, but I was honest, and I followed through with every single thing I said. And, so it was definitely just that communication and letting people know that, I'm going to trust you to do your job. This isn't a free for all. You are going to be held accountable. This is how I'm going to hold you accountable, and just keeping that communication open, I think it was key and instrumental in gaining respect, making them feel valued, incorporating different wellness plans, finding holes, and I think just as a leader, I made it easy for people, and it was and because consciously, it's easy. It's really, when you're passionate about something, it's easy to want to jump in and micromanage, right? And it's something that I think you just battle, but micromanaging is just not the answer, right? So stepping back and just kind of just respecting them as people and as employees and value, and creating that culture for them was key.
Absolutely. Hey guys, let's do this. Let's take a quick word from our sponsors. When we come back, we're going to do a deep dive into that marketing. And trust me, everybody, when I say deep dive, we're going into some stuff that I even learned yesterday that I geeked out about. So stay tuned. We'll be right back after these word from our sponsors.
The Hyper Pole from Ultimate Pool Tools is a pool care pole designed by pool professionals for pool professionals, featuring precision-crafted carbon fiber and stainless steel construction. Go to ultimatepooltools.com or Instagram at Ultimate Pool Tools. Pool pros have specific needs when it comes to general liability insurance. The SPPA program has you covered. With 3 tailored and customizable general liability options, SPPA makes it easy for pool pros to feel secure. Find out more and get covered at thesppa.com. Now available, Pool Invoice. Pool Invoice is a pool billing software created specifically for the pool service and repair industry. It's developed for our industry and only our industry. Pull Invoice is built with recurring billing in mind. You can print, email, text invoices, or even send via WhatsApp. You can add reoccurring or yearly charges, accept credits, and set up autopay. You can even see when customers have seen the invoice. It even has a customer portal where they can log in and see, print, and pay invoices. It has all your customers' information on one page, so you don't need to search through hundreds of invoices looking for the one you need. Just go to the customer profile and it's all at your fingertips. Created specifically for the pool industry, Pool Invoice. Now available at poolinvoice.com. Blu-ray XL is the power of minerals working for you. Reduce your overall chemical costs and labor up to 50% guaranteed. Whether you have 20 accounts or 20,000, Blu-ray XL's direct pricing and free shipping to the pool trade have you covered. Improving pool professionals' profit and work-life balance is what they do. Blu-ray XL, the real mineral purifier. Visit them at BluRayXL.com.
Blu-ray all day.
Aquastar's new pipeline cartridge filters, available in 2 sizes, deliver top-notch hydraulic efficiency along with best-in-class filtration performance, approaching that of DE filters. Uniquely designed, open pleat spacing means 100% of the media square footage is usable. And these claims are backed by NSF test results. Designed with the pro's time and comfort in mind, the patented double locking system improves safety and ease of access, making filter cleaners faster than ever before. Available now. Ask your supplier for pipeline filters today.
Natural Chemistry, a leader in specialty water care solutions for over 30 years, is proud to provide products that make pool service easier than ever before. Its unique enzyme formulations in Pro Series Pro Blend improve efficiency of your pool program while reducing frequency of filter cleaning and scum lines. Natural Chemistry is also well known for its wide variety of phosphate removal solutions that include a non-clouding formula in Phos-Free and extremely high-range removal with Pro Series Phos Remove or Phos-Free Max. Save time, save money, save work with Pro Series products. Stop sacrificing durability or efficiency with the help of Raypak's new Avia HD models that utilize NITEC, their exclusive industry-first technology. NITEC heat exchanger technology is Raypak's latest solution to superior strength and maximum efficiency when it comes to residential pool heating. With 900% more nickel compared to copper nickel in critical surfaces, NITEC creates an ideal surface to protect against scale formation and erosion without compromising on Avia's 84% thermal efficiency. Learn more at raypak.com/NITEC. The next evolution in lighting is here. Universal Color Logic 2.0 from Hayward. The latest in pool and spa lighting was designed with you in mind, making installation a breeze. Upgrades include a detachable cord and first-of-a-kind adjustable lower catch to overcome variations in plaster thickness. As always, Universal Color Logic lights retrofit into virtually any in-ground pool or spa while delivering industry-leading, vibrant color. Visit Hayward.com to discover more.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Pool Nation Live podcast. We are talking to Crystal here today, our boy John JJ. By the way, John, we forgot to talk about our poor boy Zach because we just kind of jumped in, and poor Zach is with no power because he was down in League City. Zach, I am so sorry, my friend.
Yeah,
I just thought about it right now.
So consumed with me and my 10-minute power outage that I had. Poor Zach has been struggling out there, trying to make things work, dealing with hurricanes, tropical storms, no power, crazy weather. Yeah. So I don't know.
I hope you're okay, Zach.
So big shout out to our boy Zach. Obviously, he was down with a hurricane, and so they lost power at both at the shop and then the house, and then he didn't have access to the phone for a couple of days, so I'm sure with all the customers. He did have some amazing customers, though, that reached out to him and said, hey, we have power. We love you guys. If there's anybody that needs to take a shower or they need food or they need anything, just let us know. And I'm like,
wasn't that awesome?
That's awesome.
You know, it does bring people together, right? And it's one thing that you can say for, these disasters is one thing that's like a trend is that it does bring people together.
Yeah, it does. And that customer is really smart because Zach will never drop them now.
Strategic
Right?
kindness.
Yeah, he'll think twice when it comes to rate raises. You know what I mean? Next time, all that, because Zach's a good person, and we know how it works. But no, I read that note and I was like, dude, that's what it's all about right there. And and as a business owner or somebody who provides a service that works and busts his ass every single day, providing a service to hundreds of clients and then taking care of so many different employees and lives and families, to be able to get that, it's a thankless job sometimes, and to get that reassurance or to get that compliment from a customer that comes out of nowhere, especially in a time of need like that, when unfortunately humans sometimes tend to be ultra selfish and only care about themselves, but when, there's a lot of good people still out there and that extend their helping hand to, something, a simple gesture like that was just pretty awesome. So that was cool for sure.
I agree.
So it was the break is always longer when I'm remote than when I'm in studio for some time.
It's actually longer now though.
It is?
Yeah, there's more commercials.
That's what I don't know. It keeps getting longer and longer, but okay. I got to get my...
Spider already let me have it on that one. He said, we need to figure something out here. This can't keep going on, Edgar.
Hey,
and I'm like, okay.
He's lying. He's lying because I love breaks.
Right? So, okay, Crystal. So you've had to learn a lot of things that you probably did not have on your radar. What has been some of the biggest areas that you had to focus on in your new position?
Well, I know this answer with absolute certainty. It was definitely the financial side. Being a creative, being in marketing, human behavior focused, all of that kind of stuff. It was definitely delving into all of the financials, our profit loss statements, our GL accounts, all of the receivables for aging accounts. Like, what was that, And just definitely not only understanding the data, being able to generate the data, because I was in there and I remember it was my biggest, because math, right? I was like, I was always an English person. I graduated high school with like 15 Englishes to the point where they were like, no more Englishes, and it was definitely 1000% the financials. But I think once you got into it, and there were some days, especially when I first started, that I'd be up till 2:00 in the morning with Coursera and different free, Excel courses, and just trying to elevate my knowledge and understanding, because there's a lot of, just like there's jargon in marketing, and just like there's all of, ROI and KPI and all of these little short forms. It's the same thing goes for the financials, but it's such an imperative part of the business. So it was definitely that. But then there was an aha moment. I remember I was sitting there, because you have to understand, I'm doing it for 2 businesses as well, looking at the forecasting, doing year-to-date comparisons, making sure that every single department is in the budget at month end, doing all this stuff for 2 different areas. And then I got an aha moment. I'm like, this is just like my own personal budgeting, just on a much larger scale. And it was kind of like, I intimidated myself, right? And I think once I gave myself the grace to say, you know what, you actually do know this, it was a lot easier to flow and manage through it. But most certainly it was that scary pond of the financials that I think, to be honest, I've been avoiding my entire career, going through all of the school I've been through and I've always just like pivoted through the math and the numbers, right? And gone to more of the English. So the universe definitely gave me a gift, even though it didn't feel like it at the moment, because now I can confidently say that I can generate reports. I can communicate them. I can now, and if anything, it's exciting for me now because I'm a data nerd. I can geek out on data analysis, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I just found like a holy grail of all of this data that I can use to make predictions and business decisions and comparisons and find holes. So, but yes, it was definitely, to answer your question, the financial side and the accounting side of the business. No one gives the accounting enough credit. Everyone go and hug your accountants because because it is intense, especially around tax season. So
yeah. I do have to say, so we talk about it all the time. We talk about, in order for you to be successful, you have to kind of work on your business, right? Mm-hmm. You have to take time, all the time, to work on your business. And in meeting you, one of the things that has really impressed me, and I totally understand why your CEO said you're the person that we're going to put in charge of these 2 companies. There's a couple of things that have impressed me, and that is your continuous move to work on your business sense, right? And
Yes.
learn all these different things about business. And so you have literally spent the last 22 years,
Yes.
which is amazing, taking all these courses and degrees at universities. And every time it seems like you got somewhere where you were like, well, I don't know about this. You're like, I'm going to go to whether it's York University or
Yeah.
wherever, and you've learned about those things. Can you tell me why you find that so important and how that's helped you in your career?
Yeah, for sure. You know, a quote comes to mind. Aristotle said it, is the more you know, the more you realize you don't know. And that is something that I've carried through my entire career. And, you know, from a young age, I knew that marketing and business was something that I wanted to be a part of. I didn't know exactly. And I think that's another thing for me is that as long as you're walking in a direction, I feel like, you know, just as long as you're trying and you're walking and, you know, you're learning, things will come. And so that was just been kind of a motivation for my education journey is that, again, like Aristotle said, I started off my very first college graduation was public relations. I did corporate communication. And, you know, that's been pivotal, in all of my decisions when it comes to public relations in business, in people, in the way that, you know, personal branding, company branding, all of that was really a part of that. And then that sparked my marketing management because I was like, oh, well, when you're doing public relations, it's all these things. So then I took marketing management. And then after that, I took another marketing course, which was digital marketing, because, you know, I just fell completely in love. And, you know, from there, it was like, you know, refreshers on, you know, different, I did public speaking courses. I've done, you know, branding courses. And it's just funny how, you know, it spiders, excuse the pun, and into all of these different things that once you know, get a little bit of a bone, I like to understand it. And even if I'm not going to be an expert, and I say that to everyone, you don't have to be an expert to have a base knowledge understanding. And that's where it comes with, there's a lot of free different courses too, like Coursera, there are LinkedIn Learning. I've actually blocked off on every Wednesday for the last 10 years. If you go into my calendar, my shared calendar, from the hours of 1 to 2, I call it Webinar Wednesday. And every single Wednesday, I find some sort of something, and it's usually something that has to do with my week or something that's going on. But I dedicate that 1 hour to just learning something new. And I promote it to my staff as well. I say, hey, every single month, because I'm also HR for both of the companies, and I want them to know that I want to, you know, give them permission to do something similar. I'll send little courses, like I'll send like 5 because I do theme months at my work, and I'll, you know, send 5 and be like, hey, if any of these are something that you're interested in doing, let me know. Let's block it off on your calendar because, you know, it's so imperative to be dedicated to that lifelong learning, because the second we think we know it all, we know nothing. I think Socrates said that one, but don't quote me on that. And yeah, so it's just been a very part. Like right now, when I became the vice president, my number one thing was I went from managing like a small group into this large group. How am I going to do that? So I signed up for HR management. So right now I'm at York University. I'm going to graduate in October, a 4-year, 2-year condensed program to learn, you know, human resource management. And speaking to your wife, and like when she did the Women's Summit, so much stuff was clicking because it's just such an imperative part of the job. Do I want to be in human resources? No, I don't. It's not my passion. But the things that I've learned as a leader, taking that human resource, it's you know, it's really, really helped me along. And you know, like what's next? I'm not sure, you know, it'll come up, but I guarantee it's something. And, you know, even down to mindfulness, I went to U of T because I felt very stressed out and just, you know, with corporate, and now I'm certified in applied mindful meditation. So there is literally something for everything out there. And if I could give anyone any piece of advice, it's don't be afraid to, it doesn't have to be a huge dedication to be like, oh, I can't sign up for college, I can't afford it, or I can't do this. The internet is free for the most part, except for your monthly fee, and you can find out yourself. You can delve in, you can get the information, make sure it's from a reputable source, but information is at our fingertips more than ever. And we're never going to know it all. So we've got this one lifetime to suck it all up.
So at the age of 14, you were able to figure out what one of your passions were, and it was at Foot Locker. Can you share that with us?
Yes.
and why that great moment gave you some clarity?
Yes. So this is where it tapped into the psychology of marketing, right? Because anyone who's big into marketing knows that it's, a lot of behavioral science, a lot of different psychology tactics. And I remember I was 14, I was working at Foot Locker, and what they do is like Jordan, all the big brands, Nike, come in with planograms, weekly planograms, and they tell you what things go where for sales, all of that kind of stuff. And this is where I was first introduced to eye level is buy level. So what that means is that when you put something at an eye level for purchase, it's bound to sell a lot more than if it's at the lower levels or the higher levels. And it was a phenomenon that just blew me away. I'm like, so you mean to tell me I can take this ugly shoe and I can put it in the middle and it's going to sell more? And it did. And I was just completely blown away that product placement, the way that, things are planned out, because it's very strategic with planograms. It's also something that I talk about in the merchandising course, is making sure even in our industry that we have, an idea and a plan of where we're going to merchandise things. But this was the perfect example. And then as my retail career carried on, and at this point, my antennas are going for any type of marketing merchandising now, because they've sparked my interest, right? Because doing it myself, taking that ugly shoe and putting it in the middle, people are buying it and picking it up. So what I started doing, I became assistant manager. Eventually I worked my way up, and I would start like thinking outside of the box, right? When it came to product placement and merchandising. Because the thing is with marketing is sometimes you got to take a risk, right? Sometimes you got to step out of that box, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Dust off, try again. But what I would do is, so there's like, vertical signs where they'd say buy one, get one half off or whatever. So what I would do is I'd take the sign out, or I'd put a different sign next to it with a folded t-shirt that maybe wasn't selling as well. And because all the other shirts were like horizontally laid in piles, and this one shirt was vertically stood out, all of a sudden it sold more. I could literally sell almost double this t-shirt that was going in using data and saying, okay, this shirt's not selling, and taking that and putting it somewhere that, because people want you to make the decisions for them. Easy decisions. Just make it, the easier we can make it for someone to make a decision about our company, whether it's the information that we're providing, the visuals that we're giving, the customer service, the way we're explaining, anything that can make it easier is better. And yeah, it just blew me away that, just different types of strategies would be able to increase sales. And I've taken that and I've carried it all the way through.
I love that story yesterday. It was just it just makes everything click, right? Like there's that specific strategy to that marketing that we need to learn. It's the details of it, right?
Right. Well, even if you think about eye level, buy level, and then you put yourself into a kid's shoe. 5'5" for a child is not going to be eye level, buy level, right? So in our pool and spa stores, we're going to have the toys at a reachable level for the children, right? So we're going to have stretch levels. Those are for the things that, save those for the tall people. But we've also got little kids that really do drive, especially in our industry, with floaties and pool toys and all of that type of stuff. Don't forget that eye level, buy level, for children as well, depending on your business model, obviously. And this is obviously talking about a retail section. But yeah, it was just a phenomenon that just completely eye level is buy level, just tattooed into my brain.
I think I'll always remember that. Eye level is buy level, right?
It is.
So now, yesterday I geeked out completely while you were doing the videos, and I was kind of writing some notes down, and we talked about it a little bit. And I know that your passion is in a lot of that marketing, but can you explain to us what marketing is? And you did a phenomenal job yesterday, kind of really making that a lot clearer for me. So can you talk a little bit about that and why that marketing is so important?
Yeah, for sure. Well, I think if you look up marketing, there's probably a million different definitions, but I think the one base understanding that we can say for a definition, it's the undertaking that a company, proceeds with, strategy that either promotes a product to be sold, right? It's the way that we advertise. It's the way, different campaigns that we use. It's the strategies that we put into place to make people aware of not only our products and our services, but who we are as a company. Because marketing isn't all just about making sales, right? It's brand recognition. It is, it's finding the holes and solving people's problems and educating them about that. Because a lot of times it's like, okay, when you're looking into, your customer base, what do we want to do as a company? We want to solve people's problems. But we have to tell them that the product or service that we do will solve that problem. When it comes to, cleaning your pool, it's more than just going in and being like, hey, I'm going to come clean your pool. It's, hey, let us take that off your plate. Let us, one less thing for you to worry about. When it comes to water chemistry, it's more than just a company going in and looking at the chemicals. It's keeping your family safe. It's making sure that you can enjoy your pool. So, but without marketing your company, like how do other people know or not know? Especially when it comes to new products, to market a new product. What's the point of even making it if people don't know it exists, right? And the beautiful thing about marketing is, again, there's just so many different ways. There's inbound, there's outbound, there's digital, there's social media, advertising and sales are connected. There's a family towards it. It goes into, again, branding and culture. Marketing, I think, is just a really broad term. And I think you could probably separate it into more of a department with a whole bunch of like subsidiaries, as opposed to saying, marketing is, just this one thing. It's a collection of a bunch of things that go towards the goal of recognizing who you are as a company, who you are as a brand, and what you sell and how you sell and what problems you solve for your customer base.
So you talk about in your training about branding and colors. Can we talk about those and how they impact your business?
Yes, yeah, of course. So, with behavioral science and different types of marketing, and our industry benefits from this as well, is there's just a neuroscience to how colors make us feel, right? And for instance, blues tend to be more calming and tranquil, hence spas and everyone else using blue as kind of a thing to like calm you down. Greens are the same, with biophilia, which is the innate nature for people to be attracted to plants. We're human beings. It's tapping into all of these subconscious parts of the brain that evoke certain emotion, right? Another good example on the flip side would be construction, or that color orange. It represents like danger, alert, stuff like that. Red is power and highlighting. A lot of different fast food joints will be like yellow and red because they want to get your attention as you're driving through. So there's ones to catch attention, and then there's the tranquil calm. And there, in our industry, there's also a combination, right? Is everything can't just be monochromatic blue, but we can use the yellows and the reds and the oranges to highlight. Say for instance, I'll use a flyer for like a retail store. They're going out. It can't be all blue. We got the reds, like sale this, but color really does evoke certain emotions in people, and using that in our branding and our logo, knowing, just imagine yourself like a pool builder, and it's yellow, red, and off the hop when you're looking or when you're comparing, you're not automatically going to think like that's a pool company. Your logo, your branding, the story that you tell also includes color because there's an association from it. And I don't think sometimes you don't even realize that you are associating it with, like, blue is water, right? So, yeah, color theory is definitely like black, for instance. A lot of like the uppity brands, and even in our industry, it's like silvers and golds and blacks, and just keeping in mind that color theory does matter, and the colors that you choose and the way that you present yourself will evoke certain emotions in human behavior.
And it's all dependent upon, obviously, the emotion that you want to portray, right? So there's John, we geeked out about this a lot yesterday because we went into this deep hole, because like, I'm about the colors, but I'd never done the deep dive. And so we talked about it. So for me, Aqua Bright was always red, right? Mm-hmm. I wanted that statement. I wanted that red to kind of catch people's attention. And I wanted it for a couple different reasons, right? Red, it stands out. It's vibrant. It's kind of like energy type stuff. But I also wanted it with the mindset that if I was in the backyard, I wanted my customer to see that red and automatically know that's Edgar, or that's one of Edgar's guys, right? Like it's there. So if somebody's doing into the pool service industry and they're looking at that branding, is the color just based on what message they want to send? So
Well, it's definitely, again, there's exceptions to every rule, and what works. I think this is where it goes down to branding again. Is who are you as a company? What do you like? You want it to stand out. You want it to be, very visual in the backyard. So what are your objectives as a company? What are your goals? How do you want to be perceived? How do you want? And it boils down to you wanted all of those things from Red, and Red did that for you, and it's great, but because you kept that in mind. And yeah, it just boils down to what is your voice as a company? What do you want to portray? How do you want to fit into it? And yeah, what part of your story, right?
So it would be, if you want to be a little bit more of kind of the leisure, the enjoy your backyard. So you would go with kind of the lighter colors, not that big, vibrant.
Right. And again, there are exceptions to every rule, right? This is just like a base of just scientific study and research that people have done. Is that to say that you wouldn't be successful if you chose another color? No. But it's always just this nice little tidbit of information to know, because nothing like I geek out very, very a lot with the human brain and just like human behavior, behavioral science, neuroplasticity, like all of that kind of stuff is my for fun. And this falls into that, right? It's like humans do like a flock type thing for certain things, right? And the more you can understand about human behavior and try to put it in, and again, you can also try to rebel and go against that, and it may work for you. It's just it's just an interesting little tidbit.
Yeah. So John, in looking at some of these colors, and she had the PowerPoint, and I kind of geeked out. But obviously, like the navy blue that we use for Pool Nation, right? It's loyalty. It's create calmness.
Yep.
For the red, it's create, draw attention, create urgency, energy, right? And then you've got, the yellows, which are build awareness, stimulate, enthusiasm, right? And then do you know what the black was for?
High class, luxury.
Yeah, it's all luxury brand. It's all, and then I look at John's logo, right? The JJ Flawless, the silvers, the blacks, and it's like it delivers that message.
See, I didn't even know that.
Redefined elegance is black.
Yes.
What does it say? Exude authority.
Yeah.
See.
So now, when you picked your black, did you do that on purpose, or is it just because you look good in black?
100%.
That you look good in black?
No, everything is done with the purpose.
He knew what he was doing.
Yeah, everything is done with the purpose.
And we talk about it all the time, right? We talk about that. So for John, it's obviously JJ Flawless. It's Flawless Pools. It's the luxury. It's the, So for anybody that's listening to this podcast, we are going to put on the Poolman University this course, which was on merchandising, but this fits into that merchandising. So even though there's some other aspects of merchandising, watch the video. We're going to have it up next week, but it goes into all the different color theories and all those things. It was an eye opener.
Yeah,
it is. And I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I just want to tag on real quick and say how truly important that is. And, as a business owner, sometimes, or when you're first starting off, you kind of don't really put that much effort into it, or you just kind of throw it to somebody on Fiverr to do it or whatever, or you kind of just get a generic stock photo and to put your logo, and you don't really understand the consequences that it might have, especially when it comes down to choosing the name or, how you're going to present your company to the public when you don't have the opportunity to do it in person, right? Just by people viewing you or seeing you on the road or seeing your truck or seeing your uniform or looking at your website or those types of things, you want to send a message out to them immediately to display what type of service and whether or not you're a good fit for them. And I've spoke about this many, many times with our company, and why I picked Flawless Pools was because I wanted to send a message out to people that we are confident in what we do, right? That we are the best of the best, and we're not cheap, because you do not associate perfection or flawless service, right, with cheap service, right, or a service that you expect to pay a budget service. We are 3, 4, 5, 6 times more money than the majority of the companies out in my area. And when somebody calls or somebody is looking for a cheap company or a company that is a budget or whatever, however you want to look at it, they're not going to associate us with that. And we eliminate that that disconnect, right? We eliminate that potential tough conversation, or or a pool of customers that are going to waste your time because we're not providing the service that they're looking for. They're looking for just a heartbeat, somebody to just come in and empty a basket and walk out their backyard or whatever it may be. So we purposely chose that, and it has done wonders for us. But if I was J&J Quick and Easy Pool Service, or you know what I mean, or J&J low cheap. Cost or budget cheap or whatever, cheap pool service, right? And I go there with the premium and I'm charging X amount. Customers are going to look at me with the look that your dog gives you sometimes and goes, what the hell? You know what I mean? Like, what are you talking about? Yeah. Where's that disconnect there? And it does play a huge difference, or a huge role in how the public perceives you. And what's important too, is if that's what you're trying to if that's what you're going for, you need to make sure the way you're doing business, or the expectations meet that, right? If you're going to throw out flawless pools out there and you deserve and you deliver subpar service, it's not going to work for you. Likewise, if you say you're a budget pool service and you're portraying yourself as the best out there, right? Well, obviously people associate value or money with, or things that cost more money with value, right? Or, and that's just the way that people think. So yes, we purposely did that. And I think many companies, and I've known other pool guys that have gone and changed their name because they learned that lesson 1 year, 2 year, 3 years, 4 years, or their journey, they went on a different journey, or they changed the direction of their company, and now they were a budget and now they want to turn into more of a premier or premium service. So in turn, there's other changes that you have to evolve into in order to match that.
And I think a really important highlight that you're saying is that we need to know our customers. We need to know. And I think another great point that you just made is that you have to ebb and flow, because sometimes when we start a business, we think to ourselves, I'm going in, I'm luxury, I'm this, I'm that. And then all of a sudden you're realizing the community that you're a part of, or, the area that you're in isn't that, right? That's not your customer base. So either you're going to sink because, you've decided that this is who you are no matter what, or you're going to analyze your data. You're going to look at the people that are coming to you. You're going to say, okay, you know what? Maybe I do need to change. Maybe I do need to bring that in. But you sounds like you've done a phenomenal job of knowing who your customer is, catering to them, making sure that your message is geared to them. And you're absolutely right. It streamlines all of your business decisions when you know who you are, and not to be afraid of, if you are a smaller pool builder or just someone's just starting out and you've got your vision. I think it's important to know, John, as you just explained, is that you can, especially early on, switch it up. Right. Mm-hmm. And I think, for sure. And I think when it comes to one little tip that I try to tell everyone, even when I had my consulting business beforehand, is that when you are starting out and you are thinking about business names, please go online, go to GoDaddy.com, look and make sure that your URL is available, that there's no other companies that have the same name, that, so a URL is your website address. So, it'd be like poolnation.com, so on and so forth, just for those of you that don't know. But just, especially when brainstorming or going through, because you want to make sure that even your website address, which is your digital, platform, is matching what your company is. You can't be Al's Pool Store and then your website is, Pool Bonanza, right? So there's got to be a connect there as well. So just a little offside tip.
No, that's a great point. And I'll take it even a step further, and I'll tell people too, and this is some of the things I see, and people just don't understand the significance of it. But, if you're going to get a domain name and you're going to get your company name, get your email address to match it as well.
Yes.
So when you're sending out, don't spend the extra $10 a month or $20 a month. I don't know how much that shit is. It's nothing.
Nothing. Yeah.
Right. But it's much, you send a different message. You portray yourself, or you put yourself out there as a more professional company or a bigger company, or you got your shit together, because, and instead of it being, J&J flawless pools at gmail.com, and those little things, and I know, and hopefully I don't piss anybody else off, piss anybody off out there, but it's the truth. Spend the extra 10, $20 and put there. It makes a huge difference in the way people perceive you, because you put that money or you put that into your company, and it just makes you look a little bit more professional. And when it comes down to branding and marketing, it's very, very important.
Yes, 100%. It definitely is. And, especially I've seen it in some small businesses where it won't even be like the name at Gmail.
Yeah.
It'll be like Eddie 701,
Yes. Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my gosh,
Yeah. Who am I trusting?
Right. Are you going to be gone tomorrow?
There's a $30,000 quote to put some equipment in.
Yeah. Yes. Great point. That is an absolute great point. And to your point, when you're purchasing your domain, you can add on marketing, right? And add on the domain for email.
Yeah.
And it is very inexpensive, even to buy a domain. I got to be honest. I think I own like 100 of them, just because when I get an idea, I'm like, ooh, maybe I'll start a business, and I've just had them, because they're like 20.
Or waiting for somebody to offer you $20 million.
You know what?
Right?
I'm such a sucker. I'd be like, just take it, just go. But it's all weird stuff, It's like crystal meditation for the one day that I might be a yogi retiree. I don't know. And but they are inexpensive. They're about $20. So
it's worth every penny.
Worth every penny.
So you talk about protecting your brand and staying true to who you are as a company. What exactly do you mean by that?
I need a minute, boys. I'm gonna share a story here that I hope can save other people. So when it goes for your brand and who you sell to and perception and all of that kind of stuff, I've got a story that I learned very, very early on about branding, the importance of staying true to your brand, the importance of selecting the channels that you use. So early on in my career, I was a part of a team that we worked for. This is when I took the hiatus out of the pool and spa. It was actually right after the recession, actually. So I ended up going to the fashion industry, and we did a loungewear. It was very fancy men's loungewear. Cashmere outfits were $1,000. Like Nordstrom, we were kind of everywhere. And what ended up happening? We were a relatively young group. So I will say that I'm sure that everybody else that worked there is all going to agree with me, because I'm sure some of them will see this on LinkedIn. Is that Costco came to us. Nothing against Costco. They have their market and they have their customers, but for this particular brand that was, we were putting ourselves out there as luxury. We were cashmere, we were everything. And then Costco came to us and said, hey, can you make a variation, but we have to have your name on it, because that's what Costco, you'll see different types of bigger brands on there. But for us particularly, can you make a new package? Can you, bring a lower end version of your product into Costco? And there's the whole the good, better, best and all of that kind of stuff. We're like, oh yeah, we can do it. But what we weren't taking into consideration when we were offered this multi-million-dollar deal to do this, all we saw was the dollar amount, and we thought, wow, that's success. Look at this fast money, and all we have to do is create this cheaper thing and slap our logo. But what we didn't take into consideration, and I think it's a reason why branding is so burnt into my brain, is that brand and that logo meant a lot to our existing customer base. When they wore our product, they felt rich and fancy, and that was our price point, and that was everything else. So when we then took it, dumbed it down, if you will, and put it into Costco, I will admit, within a year or two, it was no more. The company had gone under because we lost our existing. As soon as that Costco money was done, it was done, right? And in the process of selling to a cheaper avenue and going against what our original branding, culture, story, like everything was about, and going towards the mighty dollar, the company went under. So it's just an example of how important it is to stay true. And you know what? It's a marathon, not a sprint sometimes, right? And it's really easy to be like, okay, quick money, right? But I think anyone who's a true success, I think it's really easy to look at them and say, wow, like, look how great they are. But nobody sees the behind the scenes and how long it took and all the mistakes that were made and all of the everything. And it's just, and again, it's going back to the fact that we weren't true to our customers. We did not stay loyal to them. We tried to get rich quick at that time, and we made the wrong decision by going against what we were as a brand and selling out, and then ultimately the company went under.
No, and I mean that story can apply to so many people, right? And so many decisions so many people make along their careers, and it could even be in their personal life or business. And I talk about it. It's, people are being penny wise and dollar foolish, right? You've heard that saying before. You step over a dollar to pick up a penny because you want, oh, this is what I can get right now. But we fail to see the impact that it's going to have 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4, 5, 10 years down the road, and what you're trying to build and what you're trying to accomplish. It's a tough position for anybody to be in, really, especially when you're faced with all that money, right? And you're thinking, oh my God, yes, we can, and you lose sight of what got you there, right? That's an amazing story. Can you in marketing, there's a rule of three, right? It's also known as the Goldilocks pricing. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, so that would be the GBB that I just spoke of, that good, better, best. That I think we all convinced ourselves in the Costco story that that we could. This is a rule. This works, right? Like we're just going to provide because we're the best. We're just going to do the good now, right? But not understanding that we were luxury. So in the rule of good, better, best, this applies a lot in our industry, and it's definitely not a bad thing. It's something that I recommend being able to do. We see it a lot in different chemicals for pools, or we see it in pumps or skimmers, or there are a whole bunch of things where brands go and put like on different price points. So good, better, best pretty much just means that we're going to give like a base price, a mid price, and then a higher price. Even the service industry can do the same thing, right? You go in and you can say, okay, well, this is our base package, this is our mid, and then we have our best, which is more so. And being able to have that pricing structure, or the Goldilocks, they call it Goldilocks obviously because she had to choose from the 3 beds, is the same as your consumer having to choose from those 3 options, right? And saying like, okay, well, it helps you reach people at certain price points. Now, what those price points are going to be, again, are all relative to who you are as a company. Maybe it's not going to be like a $10 all the way up to a $200. You're going to have to keep a scale because it doesn't always have to be financial, right? The good, better, best could be in ways that you approach it is what they get out of it, right? So let's say I'm going to use a service, for instance, okay? So say, you're doing a service, they're going to come in at the good rate. We're going to come in, we're going to check your chemicals, we're going to skim your pool, and we're going to be out, okay? Better would be, not only am I going to do that, but I'm going to add a vacuuming. I'm going to also, make sure that around and, check for any little cracks, and, you're just going to add to it. And then the best is going to be, I'm going to go one step further. I'm going to make sure that, your pump's working properly. I'm going to go back. I'm going to check all of, the wire. I'm just going to give a little check C. And perhaps the best is I'm going to do it on a more regular basis. Like there are a lot of different things in a good, better, best scenario that you look at. Hot tubs, for instance, I'm generally in the hot tub industry, just kind of starting to learn more about pools. Good, better, best is the same model, different amounts of jets, right? It's, does this have more pillows? Is this, is it the double jets? Is it the triple? So it falls into different variations of the good, better, best model. But the premise of it is that you are offering things to people to kind of get that little bit of a budge, right? For decision making. So you're not missing out on it. But yeah, so it's just something to consider when you're doing your price model.
And the good, better, best plays a huge role in my previous career, or especially in retail. And you talk a lot about the human psyche, and that's something I'm extremely fascinated with. And I learned a lot about that too back in my previous life. Is when you do give that option, the human psyche, like you say, eyesight is by sight, right? Yeah. Well, when you give that good, better, best, people choose either the better or the best more than the good, right? The lower end product.
They don't want to be cheap, John.
They don't. Oh, so, okay, well, you're giving me options here. So I'm going to pick, let me go with the little better one. And chances are you're going to get somebody to spend a little bit more money by giving them more options and explaining it to them. But when it comes down to a manufacturer or somebody like you were talking about before, and you offer and you portray yourself as the best, and then now you start giving lower grade quality options, right? Then it's like you have an identity crisis. And you lose sight of who your true customer is. But when you're on the retail side of it, selling multiple brands or multiple things, that's where that good, better, best really comes into play. And it gives the consumer and puts you in a position to where you now you switch the power role, because people are guarded when you talk to salespeople or somebody trying to sell you something. You feel like, oh, is he just trying to sell me? Just trying to sell me the most expensive thing? Can I trust him, or whatever it may be? Because you're building that rapport, that relationship in that middle of whatever that interaction. But now when you flip the script and you give them an option and say, hey, look, these are your options, and I'm going to explain the benefits of each and every one of them and help now tie this thing or these benefits to your lifestyle. You give them the power of choice. And then now when they have their choice, their guard goes down, and they usually pick either the better or the best of the three. And then now you're not the bad guy, for selling the most expensive thing in their mind. They made that choice because now they made a choice that they're educated on, and it usually works best for that sales individual and for whoever's making the purchase.
Yeah, that's an amazing point, right? Because now we're getting sales shoved down our throat, right? And that's an amazing point, is that, the more opportunity and the more freedom you give the customer to, because again, it goes back to the marketing, and it goes back to, that subconscious psyche that we're guiding people. And that was what got me into marketing in the first place, is being able to use those tactics to be able to guide people. And when it comes to good, better, best, like to your point, like especially in luxury items, is you really set your own benchmark as to where your good, better, best is going to start. Like if you are really, really fancy, like I mentioned, maybe it's just creating an even more luxury. And, it's all going to boil down to, there is no one size fits all. These are, they're methods, and they're tried and they're true. And you just have to figure out how you can massage it and make it work for you. Right. And it's interchangeable. And don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid to try something that didn't work 2 years ago, because guess what? The economy is changing. People are changing. Just because something's failed before, it doesn't mean it's not going to work next time. And just analyzing data, looking at data, keeping your customer in mind, and just being able to set that good, better, best is, the more you can use, data and experience to set that out, and trial and error, the better you're going to be.
Absolutely. Hey guys, believe it or not, it's been almost 2 hours.
Oh my gosh.
Just to let you know. It always feels like 10 minutes. It's crazy. Let's do this. Let's take a word from our sponsors. When we come back, Mr. Flawless, want to get your final thoughts?
The Hyper Pole from Ultimate Pool Tools is a pool care pole designed by pool professionals for pool professionals, featuring precision-crafted carbon fiber and stainless steel construction. Go to ultimatepooltools.com or Instagram at Ultimate Pool Tools. Pool pros have specific needs when it comes to general liability insurance. The SPPA program has you covered. With 3 tailored and customizable general liability options, SPPA makes it easy for pool pros to feel secure. Find out more and get covered at thesppa.com. Now available, Pool Invoice. Pool Invoice is a pool billing software created specifically for the pool service and repair industry. It's developed for our industry and only our industry. Pool Invoice is built with recurring billing in mind. You can print, email, text invoices, or even send via WhatsApp. You can add reoccurring or yearly charges, accept credits, and set up autopay. You can even see when customers have seen the invoice. It even has a customer portal where they can log in and see, print, and pay invoices. It has all your customers' information on one page, so you don't need to search through hundreds of invoices looking for the one you need. Just go to the customer profile and it's all at your fingertips. Created specifically for the pool industry, Pool Invoice. Now available at poolinvoice.com. Blu-ray XL is the power of minerals working for you. Reduce your overall chemical costs and labor up to 50% guaranteed. Whether you have 20 accounts or 20,000, Blu-ray XL's direct pricing and free shipping to the pool trade have you covered. Improving pool professionals' profit and work-life balance is what they do. Blu-ray XL, the real mineral purifier. Visit them at Blu-rayxl.com.
Blu-ray all day. day.
Aquastar's new pipeline cartridge filters, available in 2 sizes, deliver top-notch hydraulic efficiency along with best-in-class filtration performance, approaching that of DE filters. Uniquely designed, open pleat spacing means 100% of the media square footage is usable. And these claims are backed by NSF test results. Designed with the pro's time and comfort in mind, the patented double locking system improves safety and ease of access, making filter cleaners faster than ever before. Available now. Ask your supplier for pipeline filters today.
Natural Chemistry, a leader in specialty water care solutions for over 30 years, is proud to provide products that make pool service easier than ever before. Its unique enzyme formulations in Pro Series Pro Blend improve efficiency of your pool program while reducing frequency of filter cleaning and scum lines. Natural Chemistry is also well known for its wide variety of phosphate removal solutions that include a non-clouding formula in Phos-Free and extremely high range removal with Pro Series Phos Remove or Phos Free Max. Save time, save money, save work with Pro Series products. Stop sacrificing durability or efficiency with the help of Raypak's new Avia HD models that utilize NITEC, their exclusive industry-first technology. NITEC heat exchanger technology is Raypak's latest solution to superior strength and maximum efficiency when it comes to residential pool heating. With 900% more nickel compared to copper nickel in critical surfaces, NITEC creates an ideal surface to protect against scale formation and erosion without compromising on Avia's 84% thermal efficiency. Learn more at raypak.com/NITEC. The next evolution in lighting is here. Universal Color Logic 2.0 from Hayward. The latest in pool and spa lighting was designed with you in mind, making installation a breeze. Upgrades include a detachable cord and first-of-a-kind adjustable lower catch to overcome variations in plaster thickness. As always, Universal Color Logic lights retrofit into virtually any in-ground pool or spa while delivering industry-leading, vibrant color. Visit Hayward.com to discover more.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Pool Nation Live Podcast. We are in studio with Mr. Flawless and Crystal.
Hello,
I really
hello.
need to start changing the camera early so people can see your dances.
By the way, did you not think I was sitting there going like this, waiting for her to look, and I'm like, but I'm listening, kind of going. As soon as it's almost over, I'm like, I'm stopping so that Spider won't catch it. So, anyways, hey, a couple quick things here, Mr. Michael. Let's see here, what's coming on. I don't deviate from my color. Look at that, Michael is on here, and he said, my branding colors are blue. He even puts the number of the color of blue, and he goes gray, white, and black, and I don't deviate from my colors to maintain the branding.
I love that, Michael. And one thing I talk about in merchandising is the importance of a brand guide. I know we're about to finish off, so I can't go into the deep depths, but it is so important to have a brand guide just so that everybody in your company, everyone's on the same page when it comes to hex colors, branding colors. So I do love that because there's lots of variations of blue, and you want to make sure that everyone's on the same page. So good job.
Big shout out here to Lacey. She is
Hi,
on.
Lacey.
She's listening. So love this episode. I-line equals byline is coming home with me for our life. So
awesome.
Big shout
Always
out
so
to you.
supportive. She's actually one of like the very good friends that I was talking about from the Women's Summit. So, it's grateful for you. Thank you, Lacey.
Yep. I love I love their energy. I love what they bring to the table and stuff like that. And we're working on some stuff with them. So we're excited about that.
That's so great. I can't wait to see it.
Yep.
I can't wait.
So, Mr. Flawless, final thoughts?
Yeah, well, first and foremost, Crystal, I just want to thank you so much for taking the time out of your day, out of your busy work, from your family to come out and do this podcast with us, and more importantly, to get onto our Poolman University and do some courses and classes, and for offering to come out to the pool conference and sharing some insight and your knowledge to some of us pool pros in November. That is absolutely amazing. I hope everybody that was listening to this podcast, you guys dug in a little bit deeper and saw that this is just the tip of the iceberg here. And the amount of information that you can learn and actually take home with you and apply it that will impact your business in ways you never thought was even imaginable, right? To be able to harness or to learn that type of stuff, and to have somebody like you, Crystal, who has that experience and all your background and all your knowledge, and especially running 2 companies, right, to be able to share that with us is quite delightful. And it's an opportunity that I think nobody should miss, because you don't know what you don't know, right? Mm-hmm. And these are one of the things that, for most of us, we just don't know how important it is. And it definitely isn't. And I think the reason why is because it's not that immediate ROI or that immediate, win you get, because you can do these changes, the branding, the marketing. It's not, you were talking about running a marathon, right? It's not a sprint, it's a marathon. This is something that you put into place very strategically, right? And then you stick to it, right? And you abide by it, and then you will start to see the fruits of your labor, 6 months, a year, 2 years down the road, and you can't even imagine the amount of money that you could be making, in addition to what you would currently be making if you didn't implement these types of strategies. So those of you that haven't decided to go down to the Pool Conference or to our Pool Nation Conference, make sure you guys get the tickets as soon as they're available, because these will be classes that will change your life when it comes down to how you run your business and how successful you are. So Crystal, thank you so much. You've been amazing. I wish I was there. My apologies for not being there. Next time you do decide to come down, I will make sure that I'm there so that we can do it live in the studio. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. And my phone has been blowing up like nonstop. I probably had literally 20 different calls while we're on between break and the last half hour. So I have no idea what I'm going to be stepping into, but that is either here nor there, but I will deal with it shortly.
Well, thank you very much for having me. Like I said, this is an experience of a lifetime as well for me. So it has been an absolute pleasure. You guys are great. And I'm blessed to be here. So thank you. And I'm looking forward to all of our little adventures that we agreed on today.
Yes, and yesterday.
Yes.
So you know what? This is it's planted a lot of seeds for me too. So thank you very much, guys. Very great.
Absolutely. And I want the record to reflect. So John, she is very humble about herself. She, I think, doesn't give herself as much credit as she deserves. And I agree with your boss with the comment that he said. And we talked about it a little bit. And I have to say that we have the pleasure of being able to talk to a lot of people in the industry. We really do. We're very fortunate. And I have been, out of this experience, completely blown away by, your passion, your continued focus on education and learning, your commitment for 10 years to every week learn something, do something different. You have so many tools and so many skill sets that, I'm going to be completely honest with you, we've interviewed a lot of people, and you are at the top of that list. So I am completely impressed with your business strategy, your people, the learning about, the business, the finance, all those things, and your continued focus on, like we said, working on the business. And so I don't say this often, and somebody's going to get pretty mad at me, but you are a badass. So we appreciate that.
That means so much to me. Thank you so much. That I'm speechless. That honestly means so much. Thank you so much.
So we really appreciate that. We appreciate your partnership and wanting to kind of come out and help with the Pool Pros and all that. So definitely appreciate that. Mr. Flawless, I know that you are probably going to have a very long day now with all that crazy heat out there. So everybody,
good luck.
Yes, everybody out there, catch me and John next Wednesday on the Instagram Live. Get out there, nominate. We had about 4 nominations come in while we were on the podcast. So get out there, nominate some Pool Pros out there, and we will catch everybody next week. Have a good weekend. Bye, guys.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Pool Nation podcast, a member of the Pool Nation family. You can listen to us live every Friday here at 9 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Central, and 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. You can find us at Pool Nation or PoolNationPodcast.com, on Facebook, or on Instagram at Pool.Nation. And to find more info about Pool Invoice, the billing software built specifically for the pool industry, go to PoolInvoice.com. Before you go, this is what the pool industry has been waiting for. PoolManUniversity.com. It's the first platform dedicated to learning the swimming pool service and repair industry. A pool service community where you can connect and find videos on business, service, water chemistry, and repairs. See you there at PoolManUniversity.com.